problem at all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of Entrepreneurship Lab. This is your host, Nevena Bajalac, welcoming you once again to the show where we help you grow your business and we bring experts in different areas so you can learn as well and get some new and trending information. Today, our guest is Chrisley Kim, and Chrisley is coming from all the way California, United States, and we're going to talk about lead acquisition strategies and email marketing. Welcome to the show, Chrisley.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I pronounced your name wrong, but I tried my best.
It's all right. The last name is pronounced Simi for
See
everybody,
me.
but it's okay. Yeah,
All right, you see
it's
me.
a little
You see,
tricky.
in my language, it should be S. So
No,
sometimes
no,
English
100%.
language
Yeah.
makes no sense. So, Chris Lassimi, thank you so much for being here. So, you're revenue director, right, at Senders. And can you tell us a little
That's
bit
correct.
more about Senders? Can you tell us what you guys do? And yeah, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about lead acquisitions because everyone wants more leads.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Senders, I would say we primarily focus on the sendability and delivery to suffering some domain reputation damage where like now your emails start falling into spam folders, your emails aren't getting to where they're supposed to get to. Maybe you even have client facing emails that start to kind of go a little wonky as a result of you sending cold emails. And with that being said, obviously cold email itself can certainly still be an effective channel to get your name out there to people. But you just want to be you got to be a little bit more intentional and creative about it, if you will, in today's world. And we specialize in ensuring that for our clients, that they don't have to worry about their main domain suffering any domain damage as a result of their cold email campaigns. We can ensure them that um, their cold email campaigns from a technical standpoint, those emails will go to where they're supposed to go. We'll be able to limit the bounces, so on and so forth, while scaling their volume for those people who, find it critical for their business to be sending out these cold emails.
So, for those people who are maybe terrified about cold emails, they're still terrified, they're just started, or they don't know where to start. What would you tell them? How would you guide them and which direction they should go? Because email marketing still works, still brings results, and
Sure.
there is no reason why we shouldn't using and utilize it on it.
Well, if I was speaking with them, I want to know what exactly they're afraid of with email marketing. But speaking from a broad perspective, I would say that you can, from a business standpoint, you can look at cold email marketing almost like getting a billboard, where it's at the end of the day, it's getting your name out there to ideally a defined ICP that you've defined ahead of time so that you know kind of whom you're prospecting and whom you're reaching out to, but with a clear and concise message about whether it's your product offering or whatever it is that is your hook that you're trying to use to get people to get some awareness about yourself. With whatever that is aside, cold email, that's how you should look at it. It's an effective way to get a billboard without paying billboard rates, if you will. And it's going directly to the people that you want it to go to. And so with that being said, where we could step into that picture is again taking that, okay, hey, I'm trying to get this message directly to these people that I want to get it to. We facilitate just ensuring that that message is actually getting there and it's not harming anything else that you have going on to ensure that that messaging is getting there.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I like the comparison to billboards. So there's going to be like thousands of people seeing it, but not everyone is your customer. And it's same in the email. Like some people will open, some not. And
Sure.
all of us, we receive email marketing every single day. And we, have specific interests at specific time. But if we are not present, then, our chances of getting more customers and clients are definitely lower. And tell me,
Absolutely.
I want to speak to you specifically about lead acquisition. So some of the listeners
Okay.
might be, okay, I'm just starting, but I don't have enough emails, or how much emails should they have before I start? And then where do they find leads and their database? Like where would you start in an organic way for everyone listening?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there are tools like Apollo.io, Zoom Info, things of that nature that have databases where you can, pay like a small subscription fee or use like the starter plan to get some contacts based upon your ICP and kind of build out what you're looking for. I would say things like that, if cold email is something that you want to try, are a great place to start. Just in terms of just getting the data. But outside of that, there are so many even like scraping tools out there and things of that nature, third-party tools you can put onto like your Chrome extension if you use Google Chrome, like I think Snovio, I believe is one of them, Snovio.io. So like every time you go on a website, it'll populate the email addresses of the people, for that website and so on and so forth. But outside of, doing something to that degree, like I said, using any one of like Apollo.io, SalesLoft, those type of tools, mainly probably Apollo or Zoom Info, just from a data standpoint in terms of getting email contacts from a jump start, I would say is a good place to start. With that being said, you don't want to necessarily send out too many at one time in the beginning. I would start small from a small volume kind of standpoint to more so just test out, hey, does this particular audience respond to this messaging that I put together? And to kind of get a feel for that on a small scale. And then once that is, let's say you're getting some positive feedback, positive results, then it's okay, hey, I want to scale this and be able to send much more and not risk any domain damage. And then that's when you can kind of look into some different situations you can do to scale your cold email campaigns.
Thank you for that. I think that's very useful for many people listening to find a database and start somewhere. But I want to ask you, as a revenue director, what are different ways that email marketing can generate revenue? I know there is not just one way, but what kind of different offers or things people can have in their email marketing to generate revenue?
Yeah, I would say they should probably look at email as a springboard to potential different revenue streams, if you will. And what I mean by that is, I think many times when people look at cold email, they look at it as, hey, I'm from Google, so I need to send an email that says something like, hi, I'm Chris from Google. We help companies search for things that they're looking for online. Uh, can I send you a link to get on a call with me so I can show you how we can help your company? Da 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 da. And like I would say people need to start looking at cold email outside of just that lens of basically giving a line about who you are, what you do, and put an email pitch where you can use email to say whatever it is that you want to say to your market base. And so what I mean by that is like, for example, maybe you find out that hey, the people that you reach out to are all like lawyers or whatever. Your software is great for lawyers. Okay, cool. Instead of sending an email to a bunch of lawyers who don't want to read extra stuff because they got to read so many briefs every day anyway, instead of sending them an email saying, hey, this software helps you um, uh, research for cases at a 3x speed, maybe you send an email saying, hey, we found that many lawyers have had have had to extend billable hours or have had to work overtime to create or to get all the research needed for their cases. And we've found, and we have these advisors who work with us who are going to be hosting a webinar to talk about how you can save time on the research side of your case reviews prior to going to trial, for example, right? And if you do it that way, now instead of pitching your product, you're saying, hey, here's a value add I can provide you just to give you some information on what you can do. You get a bunch of people to sign up. Then now they come to this webinar. Yeah, you talk about that thing that you said you would talk about, but then you can then after that point, you find your way to creatively put in, hey, this is how we help, excuse me, um, lawyers do A, B, C, D, and E. So you're using cold email ultimately as another channel to draw attention to your organization and what you do and build some credibility so that those leads who do come in from that side of things, they can be almost treated as warm leads almost because they've had this webinar experience if you chose to do a webinar or if it's a thought leadership blog article or something like that. So I think I know I said a lot there, but from a general standpoint, I just think that people need to look at cold email more as an opportunity to just get in front of your customer base with whatever messaging you want to say versus thinking of cold email as a way to quickly pitch your product or service because everybody's getting those emails. So it doesn't make it any different. You know what I mean?
And I found that, like, for me personally, I'm always assessing what emails I open, what emails are attractive to me, which are not. And I found when people want to book a call with you, I mean, they don't even know if I have interest, right? I don't even know who
Right.
they are and why would I want to use their services. It's just the first cold email. So it really doesn't work. So we all got several emails like that during the day, people asking for your time and booking the call. And for me personally, I never done it through cold email. So I specifically, like you said, follow or get value from certain people, and then want to book a call with them because at that moment I need their services. So I think also
Yeah.
looking through email marketing as being present, being valuable, and giving value to people all the time, sharing the updates, information, so they know, okay, if I have issue, this is the lawyer I'm going to go to. If I have this problem, this is the people we're going to go to, instead of just pushing that one-to-one call because everyone hates it and I don't see it giving results.
Yeah. And
So
I mean, and I would say even look at it this way. Everybody wants to feel special. And when you get an email that says, hey, book a call with me, you already know that it's an automated email. So now you don't feel special. So I would challenge people to just think about it that way. Forget even the KPIs, forget the metrics, forget the open rates, all that. You want the person who opens the email to feel like this was sent to them directly for a reason. You're not going to make someone feel that way if you're sending them a calendar link to book a call. Because just off the fact that there's a calendar link informs them, oh, this is the same thing that went out to everybody. And so if you think about it from that standpoint, you want your email to feel like it was sent directly to them, but that doesn't necessarily mean putting in a whole bunch of, oh, I know you went to Harvard. Like, I'm not saying that, but you just wanted to feel like, oh, this was sent to you for a purpose. And then from there,
yeah.
that right there is gonna 2-3x your engagement rate from your campaigns, just if you can unlock making your reader feel like it was sent to them for a purpose.
So, I mean, thank you for sharing that. It's really helpful, and I love the point that you make. And when it comes to, I know your company is really specializing in email marketing. So, what are certain things that you see make a difference in people in first opening emails and then clicking on a specific link or taking, that call to action? What are some points that people can maybe implement in their email marketing that's gonna do that for them as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, on one hand, the answer isn't really sexy, unfortunately. But it's really A, taking the time to do your research beforehand to know exactly who your ideal customer is and doing all the front end filtering, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, to be like, whom are the best people for you to be reaching out to? That before anything is number one, because you can create the best emails with the best language, but if you're sending them to CEOs and it should be going to CFOs, what is, what have you done for yourself, right? If you should be sending them to startups and you're sending them to Fortune 500 companies, what are you doing? Like you've already lost before you even attempted. So it's making sure that your campaigns that you're setting up, you have an ideal customer profile that you're sending those campaigns out to, and it matches. Now, granted, there's some A/B testing that's involved with that, so on and so forth, but I'll say that's the first and foremost most important thing. Um, After that, I would say you want to make sure you want to be intentional about what you're saying to this audience. What are you offering them? Um, if you want to try and just offer your straight product or service to see, hey, people are interested, sure, no problem. I would recommend A/B testing some different offerings. So, hey, maybe one is just a straight value proposition email. Maybe another one is trying to get people on a webinar. Maybe another one is trying to maybe send over some thought leadership or white paper or something to that degree. You test out some different methods, different CTAs to kind of see what does your audience respond to more favorably, if you will. Um, Now, once you kind of have those things there, I would say the next piece, maybe you found some success, maybe you, okay, hey, people are responding. You want to make sure now that you're not doing anything to damage the reputation of your domain. Very, very important. So at that point, you want to be either using alternative domains, if you will, to do this cold email sending. I would, if you're trying to send a lot, I wouldn't necessarily go that route because you're basically just putting a band-aid on the problem. You're not really solving the problem that way and creating more tension points for your team. Um, but then now you want to look into things like, okay, removing all from your main email service provider servers and looking into companies like Ascenders, like the other competitors who are going to look at your email deliverability, so that you can isolate your cold email sending from all your other email sending so that you don't run the risk of potentially now your clients not receiving invoices, for example, because you're running cold email campaigns. Um, and so to make a long story short, once you have campaigns that you feel are working, just from a conversion standpoint, hey, I send this many emails and this many people respond and this many people are doing stuff, you want to, while testing it on low volumes, like probably no more than 20, 25 emails a day, once you kind of see what you're working with at that volume and you want to go higher, you absolutely want to invest in extracting your cold email sending from your email service provider servers.
I love that. That's very, very helpful. And as we're wrapping the episode, I would love if you can share with us some. There's so many AI tools for writing your emails and maybe helping you. So, what is something then our listeners or maybe startups they can use now with technology that's very available to everyone, but maybe they don't know. What are some platforms or some tools of AI that you're recommending when it comes to maybe copywriting or email marketing in general?
Um, for email, I mean, Chat GPT is obviously great, Gemini, things of that nature, but I would caution your audience to say, again, you want your audience to feel special. So if you're solely reliant on AI to draft the copy, AI is gonna, whatever based on your prompt, what it just for you. If someone else puts in the same prompt, it might put in the same, it gets very, very similar results. So the style of the email will start to become redundant because, hey, everybody's, a lot of people are going to be using AI to draft their cold emails. And so I would say certainly use it because it's a great foundational piece, if you will. But you want to be very mindful of that because, again, you want your reader to feel like, oh, this email was sent to me intentionally. And if you are too reliant on AI, that feeling is not going to be conveyed through the email because it's going to be the same style of email, if you will, that it's drafting for you, that it's drafting for the next person. So I say it's a good place to start just to get an idea for, hey, okay, these type of emails or this type of thing works, but then you really want to make sure you're customizing them to fit your audience to a T, and so on and so forth. But yeah, ChatGPT I think is um, a very good tool to use
Yeah.
for copywriting in general. Um, and it's a great place to start to kind of get a feel for, okay, so on and so forth. Then you can, intermingle it and adjust accordingly based upon how your audience engages.
And I think all AI tools in general, like they give us the base, but we have to go back and we are now the editors. We're not writing from scratch, but we're more editing.
Yeah.
And for me, when I use these tools, and in general, if I want to send a text message or email marketing, I go through it. Maybe sometimes I use the help of ChatGPT, sometimes not. But I'm just thinking, if I'm this person, what kind of tone, how would I like to receive this message? Like you said, put a name at the beginning, make it feel personal, make it feel, like not pushy, for example. It's just more informative, give some kind of value, be excited about, and those things. And I honestly, like, I'm very blessed because I always receive feedback from people. Let's say every month I run different events and I send invitations. They tell me, well, I feel like you don't send a group message, you send specifically to me. I mean, I copy and paste the text, but I just make sure that I put the tone that sounds like I'm thinking, if I'm that person, if I'm receiving this message, how would I like this message to sound? And that's kind of something I'm using to, lead myself when it comes to either email marketing or SMS marketing or whatever, WhatsApp marketing that we are using.
Yeah.
So
No,
that this is something
you're
that I
100%
learned.
right. You're 100% right. It's using it again just like a tool, like anything else, and knowing what your market is looking for, and then adjusting the tool accordingly. I would say the main thing in general, like I was kind of saying about the billboard piece, is just with email marketing, just think of it as a way to introduce your story to the marketplace, but it's not the place to sell your product. I think where people get in trouble with email is that they are trying to use cold email to sell their product or service in essence. And hey, you can only use but so many characters. You don't want your cold emails to be super long or super short. So you're forcing yourself into a square box, if you will. Instead of thinking of cold email as the place where you're selling your service or product, just think of cold email as a place where you're creating movie trailers. And all you want your emails to do is get the reader who sees the email to be like, oh, that's exciting. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I want to see more. That's it. And if you use email to be your conduit to get people to say, oh, that's interesting, you'll be very successful with cold email because now you're using it in the manner in which at this point email is used, if you will. People go to their emails, they want to be in and out of their inbox. They see they have a whole bunch of unread messages. They're not really trying to look at all that. It's a very quick, it's almost TikTok for adults, if you will, what email has become, unless it's a very important email. Then yeah, they'll sit there, look at that email and full perpetuity, probably never delete it. Maybe keep it marked as unread just so they make sure they remember to look at it again, whatever the case may be. So that's basically them labeling their email. Oh, or that's them, if we're using the TikTok conversion, that's them liking that particular TikTok. Okay, so if your goal is to get your client base to like your emails or make sure, oh, let me save that email. Okay. Now that means, all right, you want to have an enticing subject line. You want your first or two sentences because people can basically open the email without opening the emails nowadays if they're using their phone to look at the email. Okay, you want your first or two sentences to be kind of enticing. You want to make sure you're speaking directly to their problem or issue. And then you kind of take it that route, and then you put them into the story you want them to view, and then you take it from there.
I love that. And I love this analogy as well that you made with the movie trailer. So thank you, Chrisley, so much for being here today and sharing your expertise with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. My pleasure. It was certainly a pleasure to be here today for sure.
So please make sure to connect with Chrisley, everyone on LinkedIn, and make sure to share this episode with at least one person that can benefit from this information. Leave us some comments, like, subscribe, and download the episode, save it, share it, and share with us what are some other topics that you would like us to speak about in the next episode. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one.